process as leveraging your choice points. Leveraging your choice points. At the beginning, when you first become aware of this, it's about simply raising your awareness and noticing the choice points. And then you can begin to shift to responding rather than reacting. Now, when we respond, we take a moment to decide and make a choice. It still happens pretty fast, but we're leveraging that moment between stimulus and response. Now, when we react, on the other hand, it's more of a gut reaction. It's an emotional, habitual reaction that most of the time is unconscious. It's habitual. It's just like someone kicks you in the gut and you react. And as I work with clients one-on-one to develop systems, routines, and habits, because I love doing that, I get them into, you know what I'm going to say, consistent evolutionary action. But the first step is to create a vision of what they want. And that's always the first step. That's coaching 101. Get a really clear vision of what you want. And then what we do is we acknowledge the habits and the behaviors that are already there. And not from a place of judgment. Just acknowledging from a really neutral, curious, like I wonder why I did that, without the judgment. And it's difficult to get into that at first, but just be really kind and loving and gentle to yourself. And it's only then, right? It's only then when we begin to acknowledge that we can begin to retrain the responses and build those choice point muscles and really leverage them. Now, Deepak tells us here, if you step back for a moment and witness the choices you are making as you make those choices, then in just this act of witnessing, you take the whole process from the unconscious realm into the conscious realm. This procedure of conscious choice making and witnessing is very empowering. And I think you can get why that is. I mean, it's hugely empowering. And boy, does it boost. I see clients, the confidence level goes out the roof. And, you know, if you're more confident in what you're doing, if you're clearer on your vision and you're more confident and you're really leveraging your choice points, boy, is that attractive. So to go back to attraction, you can attract more opportunities. You're going to attract more great people to you when you're in that place of confidence. Now, Deepak suggests that at any time you make a choice, any choice at all, that you ask yourself two things. And here are the two things, okay? The first one is you ask yourself before you make the choice, right? What are the consequences of this choice I'm making? What are the consequences of this choice I'm making? And the second thing is, will this choice that I'm making now bring happiness to me and to those around me? And Deepak says, if the answer is yes, then go ahead and make that choice. And if the answer is no, then don't make that choice. It's as simple as that. And it really, it takes a little while, though, because let's go back to what I talked about in the first law, that internal GPS system, right? That your gut, your core voice. At first, it might be hard to hear that voice because of all the static, right? But that's what he's talking about here. So often we run around, we're getting so many different people's advice and trying to please everyone. But if you can simply create space for the answers within you and allow them to show up and allow them the space and listen, right? And just listen, then you'll know the right choice and you'll feel confident about making it, which is really powerful. So the law of karma, Deepak tells us that the moment you consciously make a choice, okay, pay attention to your body and ask your body, if I make this choice, what happens? If your body sends a signal of comfort, that's the right choice. If your body sends a message of discomfort, then it's not the appropriate choice. And it's your gut. For some people, it's your gut. For some people, it's your heart, your solar plexus. Find that place in your body where you just have that feeling when you just know when you're making the right choice. And the more you really connect with that, as you're making decisions and building your business, and it can be overwhelming, especially at the beginning for clients that are really starting up a business. There's so many different things to do. So really strengthening that muscle and getting that confidence is powerful. Now, here's something I love that he says. You can use the law of karma to create money and affluence and the flow of all good things to you anytime you want. Nice, huh? But first, you must become consciously aware that your future is generated by the choices you are making in every moment of your life. You're making your future in the present moment. And as Louise Hay likes to say, and I may misquote it slightly, but the power of the future lies in the power. The moment of power is the present moment. I think I'm summarizing, but it's around that. That really the moment of power is right here, right now. It's not that light at the end of the tunnel or when you get this done and when you get that done. The moment of power is really in the present moment. I think I got the quote right now after 3 attempts there. So now that we've explored karma and cause-effect in a more immediate sense, let's check in about the choices that you made in the past, that bad karma that we typically associate with karma, and how that's influencing now. How can you shift the past karma that perhaps was more negative or depleting into more energizing or replenishing karma right now? Well, Deepak has 3 suggestions to deal with karmic debt, he calls it. And the first one is to pay your karmic debt. And this choice usually involves a lot of suffering. That doesn't sound like very much fun, but that's what most people do. Most people they choose that they just need to suffer because they need to pay the debt in suffering and blood and sweat and tears, right? And I'm sure you've either done that or you've seen people doing that they've done something that they was out of integrity for themselves. And now they're just going to really dwell on the past, and really pay their debt. And this doesn't sound very appealing, right? But the second choice, the second way of dealing with your karmic debt is to shift your perspective on your karma and to ask yourself, what can I learn from this experience? Why is this happening? And what is the message that the universe is giving to me? How can I make this experience useful to my fellow human beings? You're making it bigger than yourself then, right? Now, the third suggestion is to just transcend it through meditation and release it. And that takes a lot of practice. I don't believe that I'm quite at that point yet. And most people, the shift is really in your perspective. My new clients especially, I see, will experience guilt or shame because of what they've not done, okay? So they're in that place where they're paying their karmic debt. And I encourage them to shift their perspective because you'll hear it again and again from me, what you focus on expands. So if you want to grow and learn and move forward, then dwelling on what might have been and clinging to the past is not an option. I spend a lot of time helping them shift this perspective, and eventually it becomes second nature. But this takes time like everything. It's about being conscious. It's about being consistent and having someone in your life, whether it's a coach, a good friend, or a supportive community to keep you conscious and in consistent evolutionary action. Now, before we move into the action steps for tonight, I want to take a moment and I want to expand upon the idea of baby steps a little bit more, of bites. We're on day 3 right now, and the action steps, each day there's 3 action steps. They're starting to add up. And trying to juggle all of this, right, it can get overwhelming, especially if you're, a perfectionist like me and trying to get everything done, or if you have really high expectations. And that's why I really recommend reading the book over and over. Take one chapter and read it once a day for a week, and practice the action steps from that chapter just a little bit every day. And this is going to help you to shift and strengthen. I mean, it's not any different than riding a bike or doing anything physical that you're trying to strengthen. These things take time, and you know what I'm going to say. Consistent evolutionary action to move you forward. The habits and behaviors you are shifting have been in place for years in some cases, for decades. So if you really want to make a difference, then take small bites. Don't try to eat the whole elephant at once. And if you're struggling, get support, get help, hire a coach, find an accountability partner, or join a regular community that's really supportive of you. Often communities we already have enable our negative habits. And when we try to change or shift, they try to keep us the same. They don't want us to change. So surrounding yourself with supportive people is really powerful. You've all heard about the fact that we earn the same amount as the average of the people in our community, right? The same amount of money that you surround yourself with. So if you surround yourself with negativity or with failing businesses or laziness, then you're going to assimilate that behavior too and take on the average of that. So stretch. That's what I want to encourage you to do right now. Stretch. Reach out of your comfort zone and seek out people and a few steps ahead so that you're really raising the bar. So we ready for some action now? So the action steps that Deepak suggests to put the law of karma into effect are committing to witness the choices you make in each moment. That's just being aware, raising your awareness, okay? Being conscious. Second step, whenever you make a choice, ask yourself, okay? What are the consequences of this choice I am making? And will this choice bring fulfillment and happiness to me and to those who are affected by this choice? And the third thing is to check in with your GPS, your gut, your intuition, whatever you want to call it, as you make each choice. If it feels uncomfortable, pause and visualize the consequences of your actions. Are we ready for some action right now? We're going to go ahead and do tonight's meditation.